All right. So this is an offline video. I don't know what's going on, but I mean, my Wi-Fi sucks, so that's a given. But we already know that. I'm gonna be reacting to the Conservative Hypehouse. They have something called short podcasts. This is their first one and only one, called Systemic Racism, Kyle Rittenhouse, and Trump Allegations. So I haven't watched it. I tried to go on stream, but my stream was crashing and whatnot, so I'm just going to record this video. And also, I'm going to be moving to Twitch. So like the 4 people who watch my stuff, I will be streaming to Twitch, but then posting clips on here. I think that is the most effective and efficient way to do this. And I think that might improve my stream quality. All right. God, this video is gonna suck. Man, I hate the Conservative Hypehouse. All right. Oh, hold up. Yeah.
Alright guys, I'm Cam Higbee and this is the Conservative Hypehouse. Welcome to the right side
I think this is the guy who's like, I don't have an upper lip, and everyone's making fun of me for not having an upper lip.
of history. This is going to be sort of our first podcast. We don't have an official name worked out just yet, but comment what you think it should be called below. Let's jump right into it. I've laid out a few things that I would like to talk about. We all know what's going on in the news with current events today. We know that the police are killing unarmed black men and women in epidemic numbers like never before.
This is not true. This is not a new thing. It's not spiking. The real difference is that people, A, are like, ooh, that's bad. B, they're recording it. And C, everyone's stuck in a pandemic, so they have the time to go out and protest. They don't need to take work off because everyone's unemployed. There have, I think this is kind of obvious. There have been moments in American history that have experienced a lot more racism towards black people. If you don't know that, yikes. What the Conservative Hypehouse is trying to do right now is just make strawman the argument that they think the left is making and then roll with it, obviously. And I just try to look at chat. There's no chat. It's not going to work. Or I mean, it will work for their audience, which is... Hey, Joe. I'm staying home. Good night. Their audience, which is 10K strong on YouTube, but over a million or 1.5 million on TikTok. So their audience will eat this up. But what they're trying to do is trying to paint America as this safe haven that's never experienced racial issues before, and that suddenly black people are getting shot more by cops.
We also know that systemic racism is on the rise and getting worse than it's ever been in American history, or at least...
No, systemic racism has been worse before. I will give you slavery. Yep. That slavery is worse than what we have now. But again, they're just trying to strawman the argument because systemic racism is indisputable.
Least, this is what the mainstream leftist media would have you believe.
The mainstream media is not leftist. It cannot be leftist. It's owned by there's only 5 companies that own all media, or that own 90% of all media. 5 massive corporations would never ever push for any real leftist ideologies, because that would require them dismantling their mass corporations.
And they don't want you to question it either. They want you to surrender all inquisitorial thought to the overarching narrative that they are spoon-feeding you to believe. How could...
This is funny because it's Fox News. It's the person who created Fox News that is on record saying the American people are dumb and we can literally spoon-feed them. That's a quote. They're like, if we just make it so people like just pay attention and the quote's like, we'll do the thinking for them. The creator of Fox News said that. That's his quote. So I don't know. That's not. That's where he gets his information from, probably. Yeah. Big yikes.
Systemic racism in America possibly be worse? They are spoon-feeding you to believe. How could systemic racism in America possibly be worse than it's ever been when at one point we were systemically oppressing people of color by holding them as slaves?
Yeah, no one's saying it's the worst ever. He said that, so then he could fight it. He's this is sad. He's just like debating himself. Like, I'd love to debate him. But he's really just sitting in his room talking to his microphone, debating himself, saying that systemic racism is the worst it's ever been. And then the second one is like, no, it's not. And he's like, yes, it is. I'm left and stupid. This is sad. This is really the state of political commentary.
In modern-day America, there is not a single right that's afforded to a white person that is not also equally afforded to a black person.
Again, systemic is not systematic. And there are very clear examples of systematic oppression against black people currently, as recent as, like, I don't know, if there are current laws that are in courts and the courts find them to be systematically oppressive, they'll come out. But I know as recently as like 2016, been a lot of voter suppression issues. There's been a lot of cases of gerrymandering, the voter ID laws that were like shut down by the Supreme Court, and were called that they targeted minorities with pinpoint or surgical accuracy. Systematic is not systemic. I don't think he knows the difference between those two words. Systemic racism is just that there is a system in place that perpetuates and allows for racism and the oppression of a group of people to happen and to continue to happen.
There is not a single piece of legislation issued by the United States government that singles out and oppresses people of color. Not one. There is not a...
They always make this argument, and they think they did something. But, like, it's like if you're running a race, and then you're running a race, and someone else is, like, running with you, and you're running. But before the race started, you, like, shot them in the foot. But, like, then you kept running, and then, like after like 100 meters, they're like, dude, hey, can you take the bullet out of my foot? And you're like, oh yeah, sorry, of course. You took the bullet out of their foot. You like slapped a band-aid on, then you shot them in the hand just for good measure. And then you get mad at them when they complain about wanting not just a band-aid, but like, I don't know, maybe a timeout, maybe they can get like stretcher or some real medical attention so they can be on even footing with you who just shot them twice. That's not like you don't need to keep shooting them like every 10 meters for it to be like an unfair advantage to you. This is a very stupid argument to make that systemic racism doesn't exist because there's no laws that's like black people are actually worse.
Opportunity.
But there are many, many lawmakers who believe that. So
in this country that is not obtainable by a black person. We have elected a black person as president of the United States.
Yes.
Twice.
That's the second meme.
2 times. That is the most powerful position.
And you also claimed he wasn't an American citizen, and you also claimed that like they would run like 24-hour news cycles on the time he wore like a tan suit. You guys didn't take him seriously at all. Every time you said his name, you said Barack Hussein Obama to try to imply that he's some sort of fucking Islamic terrorist.
In the entire world, and we have elected a black person to it twice. A system that is truly racist would not
We also elected Trump. You know, it doesn't matter.
allow for this. I think people.
Wait, what?
A system that is truly racist would not allow for this.
This is super interesting because a system that is systemically racism would, and if it wants to hold their power, should concede and should and will give like the aesthetics of having a black president. And obviously being president is beyond aesthetics, but it shores up in the minds of like the wine moms, suburban moms, that, oh, we can't be racist because we elected a black president. You know, it's the same thing that any smart capitalist would do, and what they did in Norway by allowing for social democratic safety nets to be built to show that, oh, you can still have capitalism, you can still have something similar to free market capitalism while people don't like have to die because they're uninsured. You always concede a little bit so people say complicit. Karl Marx would call it like the dangling the carrot, you know?
This. I think people oftentimes misunderstand what systemic racism actually is.
I think you are misunderstanding what it is.
When I say that America is not systemically racist, I'm not saying that there isn't racism in America. You see, the root word of systemic is...
There's a system in America, and there are people in that system who are racist, and they have power to do racist things.
System. I'm not saying that people in America are not individually racist. I'm saying the United States government is not intentionally oppressive.
But what if there's racist people in that system and they make up the system? Right? Like, I was like saying like, this is the same, guns don't kill people. People with guns kill people. It reminds me of that argument. It's like, this car isn't a weapon of mass destruction only when a murderer gets in it. Like that's actually I'm messing up my arguments. What he's saying is like trying to claim that wait, I need to think about this. What the fuck did he just say?
I'm saying
I'm not on my meds, so I can't focus.
The United States government is not intentionally oppressive towards people of color. In order for a system that governs a country to truly be racist, you could remove all racist people from positions of power within that system, but the system itself would continue to produce racist outcomes.
Oh, 100% true. I mean, it does. And it will. You can remove all like genuine racist people from the government, but if the government doesn't do anything to undo the harm it did to the marginalized group of people, then it does nothing to change it. Right? That's what the whole idea of reparations are. Like, yeah, we have no one, well, maybe not, but on the surface, there's no one in the United States government that openly advocates for slavery again, right? But like that's what progress is, you know?
While we're talking about racist outcomes, let's jump right into police shootings. I'm going to ask a series of questions. Answer them in your head.
I'm going to answer them out loud, bitch. Don't tell me what to do. Free country.
Is there an epidemic of unarmed people being fatally shot by the police in this country?
Is there an epidemic? What the dude, loaded goddamn question and loaded language. That's like yes and no. Like it's not bigger than normal, but there is like an issue, right? It's like saying, like, that's a
Your
loaded question.
answer's yes? Okay. Is there an epidemic of people being struck by lightning, maybe several times, in this country?
Oh my god. This is the argument we're going to make.
No? Okay. All right.
This is the argument.
What if I
Oh, Jesus Christ. Wow. See, the thing about lightning, however, is that it will electrocute people very proportionally. It will even it out because it doesn't. Well, actually, maybe the people who live, like, congregate on the top of mountains get struck more. Sure. You can't relate that to police shootings where it's two humans who make decisions interacting versus literal, just like, science versus humans. This is so dumb.
told you that you are 4.9 times more likely to be struck by lightning than you are to be fatally shot by a police officer while unarmed?
Source? And what if, like, is that just for, like, black people being shot or just, like, all people being shot? Like, source. I need
You
a
are
source for
almost
this.
more likely to be struck by lightning 5 times than you are to be unarmed and killed by a police officer.
Dude, because I'm white, upper middle class, and straight, it's very unlikely that I'll be shot by police. And that's a problem.
Regardless of your race. You can obtain that statistic by cross-referencing the amount of people struck by lightning in the United States for the year 2019 from weather.gov with the amount of people fatally shot by the police in the year 2019 from the Washington Post database on fatal police shootings. So yes, that is a real statistic.
So yes, libtard, that is a real statistic. Wow.
Now, take a wild guess. How many black people do you think were fatally shot and killed by the police in the year 2019? 250.
Can you let me, think about it for a second? Goddamn.
There was 250 black people.
There were 250 black people. Not there was. Right? There were.
Shot and killed by the police in the year 2019. Now, answer me this. What do you think is more probable? Do you think it's more probable that those people were shot because they were black or because they had a weapon? Well, judging by the fact that there was only 14 unarmed black people shot and killed by the police in the year 2019, I'm going to have to say it was probably because they were armed. Combined with the fact that they were probably all...
Do you guys know that, this is a fun fact, when it gets dark out, so there's a disparity in, black people getting pulled over compared to white people. There is. It's true. Harvard did research on this, or Stanford. Stanford did research on this. But you know what else I noticed? When it got nighttime, when it got dark out, that disparity disappeared. It evened out. Also, the bar for searching a Hispanic or black driver is so much lower than to search a white driver. Also, turning up evidence, those searches, like, actually giving up any, like, drugs or weapons, was higher for white people than it was for black people. What does that mean? First of all, when cops can't see color, they're not racist. Second of all, cops are assuming at much higher rates that black and Hispanic people carry drugs and weapons. And third of all, they're wrong about that. So when they stop and search white people for carrying for drugs and weapons and whatever, they usually have good reason to suspect that they have those drugs and weapons because they find them, right? The disparity is huge, however, when it comes to black and Hispanic drivers. Why? That's systemic racism.
Also non-compliant.
It's not. It's a factor that plays into systemic racism.
Do not combined with the fact that they were probably also non-compliant.
Okay, probably also non-compliant. Source?
And do not misread me. I'm not saying that them being non-compliant and armed has anything to do with the fact they are black, because almost the exact same thing can be said for white people in police encounters. Now remember earlier we said that in the year 2019,
This just seems like this entire video is just but white people too.
police had killed 250 black people, and we said that 14 of them were unarmed. That means that the rest of them, all 236, were armed. And again, this has nothing.
Yeah, bitch, it's the Second Amendment, okay? Goddamn. Hey, Sonny, you got the Second Amendment, right? You got right to bear arms against a tyrannical government, right?
To do with them being black. The exact same can be said for literally.
I forgot the Second Amendment doesn't apply to black people.
Literally everybody else. In that year, there was a total, all races, a total of 999 fatal police shootings, and only 55
I'm kind of mad that's not rounded up.
of those fatally shot were unarmed. That's less than 6%. But there's two important.
I don't like. These stats mean nothing to me. Like, sure, yeah. Like, also, cops cops are not great at being honest about their cases. They're really, really bad at it because they commit crimes, but they're supposed to stop crimes. So it's not a good look when they commit crimes. That's why we have massive and very, very powerful police unions that grant them qualified immunity and make it very, very difficult to search up evidence for police misconduct. So I don't really trust an officer claiming that they felt threatened or that their life was threatened because there may or may not have been a gun or a knife or whatever. I don't trust that because they shot fucking Tamir Rice, you know? Shot Michael Brown when he was walking away. They choked out Eric Garner. They shot Jacob Blake in the fucking back. Like, all of these cases, like, they quoted, like, fearing for their life or being scared. And it was only because of video, like, indisputable video footage that proved that those claims were invalid. And that's why people fucking burnt down their cities. Good.
Things to note here. First and foremost, we don't know the race of who shot each person. That means that all 14.
Dude, the system part, right? The system is racist. You can be a black cop and work in a racist system. He's like, oh, dude, actually, it's not racist because it was black cops shooting black people. Okay? Okay? It was. It's only racist if the white people shoot the black people. Okay? So checkmate.
15 of those unarmed people shot and killed by the police could have been shot and killed by black police officers.
In that case, please proceed, police force.
Sure that's not the case, but we don't know. Another
guy, he's making up excuses for his own shitty statistics.
Important thing to note is that just because you are technically unarmed does not necessarily mean that the officer was not justified in shooting you. Michael Brown is probably the most perfect example of this.
Dude, how?
Michael Brown had not only robbed a store and assaulted the store owner, but when questioned by the police, he had reached into the cop cruiser of Officer Darren Wilson and punched him in the face before reaching for the officer's weapon and attempting to use it against him.
Dude, he was shot in the back as he walked away. Like, many times, yo. He had his hands up and was saying, "Hands up, don't shoot." That's where that chant comes from. Hands up, don't shoot, because he was walking away with his hands up, showing that he was unarmed and not a threat anymore, and was on the back. Even if he was a threat, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. There are many uses of force to exhaust before lethal force. Tasers, I don't fucking tackle him. Send the dogs. Like bump, like block. I don't like so many things you can do before you have to shoot someone in the back and then walking away from you. And if you don't know how to do those things, maybe fucking get better training.
A struggle ensued and Michael Brown was shot and killed. Through this hands up.
True. This is just not what happened. He was walking away.
Don't shoot narrative was born. But Michael Brown never put his hands up, and Officer...
Wait, there's video of this, right? I swear to God, there's video of the shooting. I kind of don't want to watch right now because that's fucking disgusting. Like what? Apparently, wasn't it like not him? This was 2014. It wasn't even Michael Brown who was, like it wasn't him who stole.
Over it, we want you to hear it and understand.
Yeah, that's up, man. They said he had his hands up and everything, man. Trying to get at him? I don't know. I went out here.
Right now, it was taken a week ago, last Saturday afternoon. Michael Brown's body is still in the middle of the street after that 18-year-old was shot by a police officer. It was there for hours, uncovered, and a crowd, you'll see them, gather around, and they'll start to respond.
Yeah.
The audio, very disturbing. You hear it in under St. Louis.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Wow, yo.
Yeah, that's up, man.
Yeah, literally every eyewitness claimed that he had his hands up and was saying don't shoot. So I don't know what source he has to say that it played out any differently.
Darren Wilson was 100% justified in shooting Michael
I've never heard someone justify the Michael Brown shooting. That's kind of low.
Brown. If Officer Darren Wilson
they love it when black people die.
Had not acted, he would not be alive today. Michael Brown would have killed him.
Cope.
And he would not have gone home to his family. But in
you know who else didn't go home to his family? Michael Brown.
Instead, Officer
I don't know if this is news for them, but you don't need to kill people to get them to stop robbing stores.
Darren Wilson had his life ruined and his career dismantled by the vicious and dishonest left-wing media. Speaking of the
Again, there's no left-wing media.
Vicious and dishonest left-wing media
Which
terrorizing people, look at what they've done to President Donald Trump. They've terrorized...
Sorry.
Him more than anybody. They've labeled him as a racist, even
It's because he's a racist.
Even though he's done more for the black community than any president in the last 30 years. I mean, just look.
It's because he needs to win an election. And also he hasn't.
Look at what he's done. He creates $250 million in funding for historically black colleges.
It doesn't mean you're not racist. He literally just signed a check. Or he just, like, signed a form. Like, this is, like... This is stuff that gets passed through the House, right? Through the Senate. And then he's like, okay, we'll give you money, and he signs it. It doesn't mean he was like, guys, we need to make higher quality black education or black higher education. You know, like he didn't wake up one day and decide like, I love black people, I want to help them have access to really great education. He was just given a bill on his desk, and if he didn't sign it, it would be really just like a bad look.
Universities each year. He created 8,760 economic opportunity zones across all 50 states, 5 territories, and Washington D.C.
Again, I'm my eyes are like burning. The opportunity zones were two things. Just like gentrifier heaven, and ways for his son or his son-in-law to not pay taxes, and for his friends who invested there to not pay taxes, which he also isn't doing. $750 of federal income tax beautiful.
The goal of driving long-term outside investment into low-income neighborhoods, affecting and benefiting 1.5 million black families. He signed the Martin Luther King Jr. National Historic Act with Alveda King, Martin Luther King Jr.'s niece, by
I don't know what that is, but I'm not going to take his word for it.
his side. In 1986, he won the Ellis Island Award for fostering peace and diversity in inner-city black communities.
Whoa, hold up. No, okay. I don't trust an award. I trust the actual things that he did. E.g., like taking a full page ad to demanding that the Central Park 5 get the death penalty. Being sued by the Nixon administration. The Nixon administration for either he was sued for the discrimination in his buildings or for the times where he made every black casino worker hide when his white friends came. The Nixon administration was like, dude, too far, bro. This is a little racist, dude. Come on, chill. Don't put the mask back on, you know. So sorry, what was that award he got again?
With Rosa Parks and Muhammad Ali by his side. Have you ever heard of First Step prison reform? In the early 80s, he was one of the only white businessmen that would lend money to black entrepreneurs. Yeah, don't feed me that bullshit. But if you want to support the president, make sure to download the Trump 2020 campaign app with the link in the description. Down to 3.1 stars, but I truly believe but it's so worth it. Not to mention the fact that you get all sorts of cool news on the.
Is he sponsored?
And you can figure out when events are being hosted. Terrorizing people. Look at what they're doing all over the country. But anyway, back to the media and them terrorizing people. Look at what they're doing to Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse was clearly defending himself. It was clearly self-defense.
Dude, the Kyle fucking Rittenhouse thing. This is so saturated and talked about by fucking everyone, and everyone knows that he was in the wrong and was not acting in self-defense, and also should never have been there. I don't it's a waste of time to get into the details of the guy with the skateboard and the videos, because he had no right being there, because it was not his state, it was not his town, it was not his mom and pop shop.
He was not out to get anybody. He could be seen all night aiding wounded protesters because he brought a med kit. I don't know about you, but if I was looking to hurt somebody or do bad to
He was wearing gloves. He wasn't wearing gloves all night, but he ended up putting on rubber gloves on. First court appearance. He's a murderer. How do you... Oh, man. It was not his fight. He got involved. He got scared. And he also agitated protesters.
Somebody... I wouldn't patch...
The exposure of a weapon, of an assault rifle, by law, is a show of deadly force. Deadly force is something you can counter legally, regardless. The people who attacked him, and I say attacked, air quotes, were the ones acting in self-defense legally, because one party was showing a display of deadly force, while the other was showing a skateboard and a plastic bag with a Coke bottle in it.
them up before I hurt them. But instead, the media just manufactured lies and fed them to people. And the people, of course, believed them. One of these lies being that Kyle toted a gun across the border of Illinois. Kyle did not tote that gun across the border of Illinois. It was a registered, legal Wisconsin firearm.
Source?
People are also saying that Kyle traveled all the way from Illinois. Yes, he did travel all the way from Illinois. All 20 minutes. It's literally 20. He lives 20 minutes away from Kenosha.
It's still crossing state lines. Like, it's
I drive
still illegal.
further to get to school. All
I
right?
live 20 minutes from New York. I can't break the law in New York.
Kyle was in Kenosha regularly before the protests. Physical state borders have nothing to do with geographical distance whatsoever.
Okay. Don't care.
And anybody who's not fully familiar with this case, I recommend that you go watch my video breakdown on it. I tried to show all videos and all angles that were available at the time that I made the video. I also recommend that you guys go watch the interview that Tyler... Alright guys, I'm in Kenosha regularly. Reeve, who is a Wisconsin Second Amendment, and Bluntman and I did with Tom Grieve, who is... He also gave us a little bit of insight as to what was going on in Wisconsin right now, specifically Kenosha. Bomb being
I don't want this video to be that long.
shot, knows that right before he was shot, right before he attacked Kyle Rittenhouse, he threw a plastic bag that appeared to have something in it at Kyle.
A Coke bottle.
A lot of people just claimed that it was a plastic bag with a Coke bottle in it.
Because it was.
Yeah, I'm not buying that because it didn't go 6 inches and then fall straight to the ground. My best guess...
Have you ever thrown a bottle with liquid in it?
...is that would probably be one of your chlorine ammonia bombs. But remember, guys, Kyle Rittenhouse is the absolute villain in this situation. In fact...
Yeah, because he killed people.
He's such a villain, Facebook has gone as far to ban any post defending Kyle Rittenhouse.
You know why? You know why Facebook is doing this? Because they're trying to backtrack for causing this to happen. He was responding to a Facebook group that's like, we have to save our country and armed, like, bring your weapons, bring your guns, bring your fucking sister. Yeah, like, Facebook has played a huge part in the Kenosha events, so of course they want to try to save their skin.
House. Well, so much for free speech and opinionated thought. That'll
no.
all just went out the
TOS. It's not a free speech thing. It's a Facebook thing. It's a corporation thing.
the window on Facebook. Facebook
Yeah, because Facebook's a corporation, not the United States of America.
has essentially determined Kyle Rittenhouse a mass shooter, thus their determination for making posts defending him against the rules. I
It's because legally he is.
guess where I'm a little lost is that Kyle hasn't even had his day in court yet, and the United States has a burden of proof. Innocent until proven guilty,
Unless you're black.
but Facebook has taken it into their own hands to change that burden of proof to guilty until proven innocent.
Just like
the
black
only
people.
problem with this is you're not allowed to prove why he is innocent. It's again
Yeah, just like Michael Brown, who was shot and killed. You know, the guy who you were just trying to say was like about to kill a cop or something.
against the rules now. So really, to Facebook, it's guilty if we say so. And that, ladies and
It's also for cops versus black people. So you get it now, right? You understand the issue, right? You see what's going on. You understand now. Okay. No, I'm glad he agrees with us because I just wish it was like with the right cases and not the 17-year-old incel who shot 2 people. But for like the 18-year-old literally does nothing wrong and gets shot in the back.
gentlemen, is censorship. But getting back to this whole open carry
And even if he did anything wrong, I wouldn't care. It wouldn't change my opinions on the fact that he got shot in the back by the state execution style.
thing. These people keep trying to say that Kyle Rittenhouse was unlawfully open carrying. No, he wasn't. There is literally no age restriction on open carry in the state of Wisconsin.
It was the interstate commerce.
We covered that with Tom Grieve, the award-winning Second Amendment and criminal defense lawyer. But they are so zeroed in on it because they are so desperate to tag Kyle with some crime because they know this was self-defense. They don't care. They just want to tag him with one crime so they can assume guilt on all of the other crimes. They don't care about all of the other crimes that were being committed by people other than Kyle in the streets
Because those crimes weren't killing people
that night. They don't care about the fact that buildings were being burned down.
No, I don't care about the fact that buildings were being burned down.
Don't care about the fact that chlorine bombs were being thrown.
Source.
They don't care that people were starting fires at a gas station, which probably isn't a great idea if you know anything about gasoline and fire. They don't care about Rosenbaum assaulting people earlier in the night. They don't care about Gage Grosskreutz unlawfully possessing a firearm. And lastly, they don't care that Jacob Blake, the guy who started this whole thing, was resisting arrest at the time he was shot. They don't care that he...
Oh, dude. The guy was holding him by his tank top. You could have tased him. You could have fucking kneecapped him. Like, you could have shot him in the fucking foot. He was unloaded into his back 7 times. It's so easy to not shoot someone in the back 7 times. It's incredible. Like, trust me, I've never shot someone in the back 7 times. It's really easy. If they wanted him to, like, I don't know, down the floor, they could have done a different form of police brutality that didn't show intention to kill.
Had a knife. They don't care that he did not comply. They don't care that he was...
And it's true, I don't care, because that doesn't change the execution by the state, or not execution. Jacob Blake's alive,
given
thank
ample
God.
Opportunity to comply, but instead did...
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Shut the fuck up, Alexa. Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
Did not drop his knife after repeatedly being asked to before being shot. They don't care that Jacob Blake...
You know how you disarm someone with a knife? So, say this is a knife, right? What you do, except this is a baton, you hit them in the fucking hand.
had committed a crime
You don't shoot them in the back 7 times.
earlier that night. They don't care that he had warrants out for his arrest. The only thing they...
Yeah, for his arrest. What happened to innocent until proven guilty? What happened? You just were so passionate about Kyle Rittenhouse being painted as guilty when he is guilty. Man, but this is okay.
They care about is pinning a crime on the terrible, horrible demon spawn of a 17-year-old
Terrible, no good.
Kyle Rittenhouse, who had been brutally assaulted by a mob of full-grown men and was simply defending his own life.
Why was he there? Did he go there to defend his own life?
But I think we are going to move on to our final topic. I'm sure you've all heard about Trump supposedly saying that fallen soldiers were losers or suckers. All right, guys, before we get into this...
First of all, I don't care about any of this. I don't care what Trump thinks of the troops. It doesn't change my opinion. If him, like, being rude to World War I or II veterans makes him lose voters, then that's great. But I don't care. It's irrelevant. It's stupid.
Again, make sure you download that Trump 2020 campaign. 2018, President Donald Trump canceled a visit to an American cemetery near Paris on the pretense that he thought fallen soldiers were losers and suckers. Now, The Atlantic has literally nobody to corroborate this story except for anonymous, aka non-existent, sources. Interestingly enough,
anonymous is not non-existent. It just means that if they were to be public, they know that the Trump administration would run a smear campaign against them. Like Anthony Fauci needs to have bodyguards because he's getting death threats. I mean, obviously he had bodyguards as a state official, but like his security has to be significantly upgraded because he's getting death threats because he just opposes the president, and he doesn't even slander the president. He just says like politely, no, this is the science. Anyone staying anonymous does not mean they don't exist. It just means that they know that free speech doesn't fully exist in the Trump administration because, surprise, surprise, the right does all of the canceling. Cancel culture is not an issue with the left. It is an issue with the right. They will do it till the day they die.
The only people who have spoken out who were also present at the time this conversation supposedly occurred have come out and said that the Atlantic article is BS. Even John Bolton, not exactly Donald Trump's best friend, is defending him on this. Now, you gotta remember, this is the same guy who's been pumping funding into the military budget since he got in office. I have a pretty good feeling that if this actually happened in 2008...
Pumping into the military, like, funding the military-industrial complex, does not mean you like veterans or soldiers. It means you want them to have bigger guns because people are getting rich and people... Okay. Ooh. The military-industrial complex does not care about soldiers. If he really wanted to do that, he would invest a shit ton more money than he already has into the VA, into mental health services for vets, into a rehabilitation center for vets. But he doesn't, because he doesn't care. And he does, in fact, think that if you are a prisoner of war, that you are a pussy.
It probably would have gotten leaked. It probably would have gotten some time on the media. Who knows? I have a hard time believing that shiver me timbers, 60 days before an election, these 4 anonymous sources just decided to speak up. Wait, what's this, guys? I'm getting 4 anonymous tips right now that Joe Biden is actually a member of the Ku Klux Klan. I have no solid evidence whatsoever to prove my claims. They are almost completely baseless.
This is such a stupid argument to counter, but I'm going to do it anyways. Trump has openly said many times how much he hates, or not hates, but has openly, like, shamed John McCain for being captured in war. He has a record of shitting on veterans.
But I do have these 4 anonymous sources. Just trust me, man. Just trust me. I mean, let's look at the facts. This does align with his racist rhetoric. He said that poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. He said that if you have a hard time figuring out whether you're for me or for Trump, then you ain't black. That's right. Your ideas determine your skin color. That's what Joe Biden believes.
You ain't black if you're voting for Donald Trump. Like, God, that's so fucked.
He is a member of the Ku Klux Klan, according to these 4 anonymous sources. You better believe it, folks. That's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you thought.
Wow, that was horrible. I'm gonna let him know that. That was horrible. Comment. Okay. Oh, he's the kid who debated Vosh. Ba ba bum bum bum. People are tagging the Vosh debate in the comments. Oh man.
Massive. This is not a culture thing. This is regardless of neighborhood. Even with driving stops, which have nothing to do with culture,
God,
unless you think
so
every black person
funny.
drives around with like the low rider and the suspension.
Oh, this is the thing I was talking about.
Or whatever. Like, I guess that would be like a black culture car.
Well,
but
that's
even
that's a very poor stereotype.
I've seen black people drive around. They look pretty much like white people driving around, but they still get stopped way more.
Dude, I was Bausch. Come on. That's funny. Wait, now it looks like I fucking copied him. God damn it. Ugh, whatever. All right. I'm gonna be streaming on Twitch. I'm gonna post clips of this I'm gonna post this entire video to YouTube. Peace out.